Wow. But I'm just going to tie a little shrimp fly that I use a lot. It doesn't look exactly like a shrimp, but it kind of swims like one. It has the craft fur, so it moves really well. And redfish aren't that picky. They'll eat about anything. If you put it in their face and it looks like food, they're going to eat it. So, but this is a quick, simple fly that looks pretty realistic. And show you guys how to tie that real quick. You can do it in many different colors. Like I did one in like a root beer brown color, and then one in a tan. This one has a bee chain eyes, so it's going to land a little softer for really soft presentations. This one has some medium-sized lead eyes, so it's going to land a little harder, but it's going to sink a little better. And this one has heavy lead eyes, so I would use this fly in some deeper water or in the grass. Something that's going to punch through the grass. So get your thread started and just trim off your excess there. And I just tie the eyes in first just to make it easy. Well, you don't want to crowd the eye, so I usually tie it in about 1/8 of an inch from the eye of the hook. Get that nice figure 8 locked in there really good. And then I'm just going to go ahead and run the thread back towards the bend of the hook. And I'll usually get it in line with about the barb, or halfway between the point and the barb. Alright, we're going to start with some craft fur. I like to use a little comb to help brush it out and get it nice and thick. If you try to do it by hand sometimes, you'll cut part of the fibers off. So if you'll sometimes take a little comb and brush it out and then comb it up, you'll get the longer strands. I see you have the extra select craft fur, so it's a little longer, a little better. If you get the smaller stuff, the comb really helps to get the length. So we'll just take that and we'll just trim off some of the craft fur from the pelt. And what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll fold it over a couple times and then reach and grab the end of the craft fur, like the tips of it, and just hold it really tight and then just pull all that under fur out. Get all that stuff out. You don't need any of that. That just adds bulk. Just pinch it really tight and just pull all that stuff out of there. To how long you want it. If you want like a really long fly, you can tie in the whole length of craft fur. If you want a smaller fly, like say if you were going to use it for taking it to the Bahamas for bonefish, you could trim it down to half of that length. So basically I'm just going to put that right on top of the hook. Just hold it there on top and give it a couple of loose wraps first and hold the craft fur in place and then just cinch down with your thread. That'll keep it from spinning around the hook. Got it in there? Alright, once you've got that in, tied in, nice and good, we're going to take some flash, and you can use any color. I think I may have told you tan, and I actually ran out of tan, so I brought some like orange. You can mix up the colors. Just the way everybody's using the same. I'm not pretty particular in number of strands. I'll mix it up. You can add more or little flash, or no flash. Some situations when the fish are kind of spooky, we won't put any flash in at all. I like to go on the side of too much, and then I can always tear it out or cut it out later. So I think I'd probably grab 6 or 7 strands there. And if you only have a few, you can double it over and make it thicker. And then what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll hold it next to the fly, and I'll kind of judge the length of where I want it. Once I get it in line with the craft fur where I want to tie it in, I'll just trim the excess off. If it goes too long later, you can trim the excess flash out. And then I'll just lay that right on top and do the same thing. Just give it a couple loose wraps and then cinch it down and tie that in.
So when it rides the other way, the flash is going to be on the bottom?
It's going to be on the bottom. And most of the time, it's not going to matter. I mean, they're looking at it from the back anyways. If you put a lot of flash in there, I'll sometimes spread it out around the fly, put it on the top and the bottom and on the sides. But for the most part, I just tie it right on the bottom. And so from here, you can leave it just the color it is, or you can take a marker and actually color it and make it barred like this. I do it to most of my flies, and all you do is basically just take it and hold it really tight and just take a marker and just color each side. Like that.
Wow.
It's really easy. If you guys want to do it, you can take that. Just a permanent sharper marker usually works pretty well. So from here, we're going to tie in this palmering chenille. I think mine may be a little longer, but it doesn't matter. This just gives it a little extra flash, gives it a little bulk. It's not a necessary step, but I add it to it just to give it an extra little look to it. So I'm going to tie this in. If you'll notice, and I'm not sure if the one you have is the same way, it should be only on one side, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie in the end right behind where you last tied in your flash. So we're going to put it right on top of the hook and tie in the end of it. Now, because it only comes off of one side, you have to kind of twist it to make it face the back of the hook.
What now?
So you see how it's only on one side?
Oh, yeah.
You want to get it to where it faces the back of the hook, the bend of the hook. And all I'm going to do is give it about 3 or 4 wraps. I'm just going to take it and you can do it by hand or you can use your rotating vise and just twist it right on there. If it starts to turn on you, you can just take it and pull it back.
All right.
Once I give that 3 or 4 wraps, I'm just going to take it and tie it off. And then just trim, shorten up the chenille off. And then I'll take it and I'll start from the eyes of the hook and I'll take my hand and I'll push it back. Fold it all back and just give that a couple wraps to make sure all the strands point back.
And tie it off. All right.
And what I'm going to do is just take this and tie it on either side of the hook, right in line with the hook shank. The reason I tie this in after I tie in the chenille is because it helps the eyes stay splayed out a little more. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right on the side of the vise, on the side of the hook, and just give it 3 or 4 wraps and then cinch it down. And you can adjust them later, just get them tied in, and then we can, any little excess you have hanging off, you can just trim that mono off of there.
And you want the eyes set about the
Yeah, I usually do it where they're actually extended past the bend of the hook a little bit, like that.
Just a hair.
Just tie one on each side, and then I'll show you a little trick to help them stay splayed out.
See, this is the eyes looking that way. And he has little fillers.
And you can take it after you have them in there, and you can take the mono after they're tied in pretty tight, and you can bend the mono where the eyes will stay splayed out to the side. You can actually grab each one of them and just pull it out a little bit, and it'll help it stay out. All right, from there, we're going to take the EP brush. This is the easiest stuff for making a body. It's a dubbing brush. It's on wire, so it's easy to, you don't have to make your own dubbing. It's a lot easier than making your own dubbing.
Cheating.
So all you want to do is just find the end of the wire and just tie it in right behind where you tied off the chenille. It doesn't have to be tied in pretty because you're going to be all covered up.
Okay. And then run your.
Yeah, and once you do that, I'm going to run my thread back up to behind the eyes. So with the brush, you're going to have, material coming out each side. What I'll do is I'll take it and I'll turn it and I'll grab the material and point it back one direction. And you're just going to palmer it around the hook. So you can just give it a couple wraps, get your thread out of the way, and you can make it really thick or really thin depending on how bulky you want your fly. I'll usually do 2 or 3 wraps, just enough to get me back to the eye of the hook. I mean the lead eyes. And then once you have those, I'm just going to tie them off right behind the eyes. And then once you have it tied off, you can just trim the wire.
Let them mark.
Yeah, once you have it that tied off and trimmed, you can take your hand and start at the eyes of the hook and fold back and pull all the material back and give that a couple wraps. That'll hold everything facing backwards.
Now, even though you didn't get the warranty on it,
Oh,
you
okay.
still have the same.
And then after I do that, I'll just bring my thread back between the eyes and the eye of the hook.
Keep the wraps.
We'll see what happens.
Keep the wraps.
And that's it?
I put a weed guard in almost all my flies. We have a lot of oysters, a lot of grass on the bottom. Sometimes you catch up. The only weed guard I use is this Mason hard monofilament. It's very, very stiff. This is 25 pound. I use 20 sometimes, but some people don't like weed guards. They think it prevents from hooking the fish, but I've never seen a problem. As long as you strip strike, it's gonna hook them. If I don't need the weed guard later, I can always cut it out. So I tie it in almost everything. You guys, you can cut off a little bit of this if you want. All right, so what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna take my thread, and where this point is, I'm gonna wrap around it this way between the point of the monofilament and the eye of the hook. And I'm gonna give that 4 or 5 really good tight wraps. And then once I got that wrapped, I'm gonna come back through and I'm gonna take one on the other side. Usually 1 or 2 is all it takes, and what that does, it helps the weed guard stay up.
Okay, I see.
So once you've got that tied in nice and tight, you can just go ahead and whip finish it, tie it off, and that's pretty much it.
Yep. Go ahead and hold it like that. Just leave some stick.
And then just trim your thread. And once you have it tied in there and your thread trimmed off, you can actually adjust. This mono is very stiff, so once you can kind of play with it and adjust it to where it's on either side of the hook point. And then all I'm going to do with my scissors is I'm going to take the weed guard and I'm going to hold it right against the point of the hook, and I'm going to trim it about 1/8 of an inch past the point of the hook. That way it extends past the point. And this is another little trick a friend showed me, and it makes it look like legs. It makes the weed guard like legs. I'll just take it, hold the weed guard, take a permanent marker, and just make a couple bands across it. So it gives it like a look like the legs on there. Not that they're going to see the weed guard anyways, but I think it kind of appeals to us more than the fish. And you can take this fly also and add little silly legs to it. You can change it up. Now, you can use head cement, glue, whatever. I don't know if you guys have ever used Clear Cure Goo. Cure Goo. It's a UV light cured epoxy. I'll coat all my flies. Once I do it, I'll just take a little bit of the hydro and squirt a little bit on there. Hit it with the light for a couple seconds, and it's fully cured.
Is that too long or just about right?
That's fine.
That's fine, okay.